There is an old saying in my country from back when the socialists were the moving and the ruling power here, right before the Iron Curtain fell, and we were under the absolutely free and amazing and totally fine rule of the socialist era. And that saying, I have said before, is no person, no problem. And it would seem that Ubisoft are kind of taking the same approach when it comes to their upcoming game Assassin's Creed Shadows. Good evening, ladies and gents, my name is Helzu, the bearded Balkan blabbermouth, and I am discussing, and this video might actually get me into some serious trouble if I don't say the right things and if I don't behave appropriately, because apparently freedom of speech is something that is very relative these days, or at least Ubisoft will have you believe it, because today we had several articles, several updates on the situation that is for the upcoming of Assassin's Creed Shadows that I think is absolutely outrageous. It is absolutely against free speech and is completely in line with what Ubisoft has been doing for the past several months. If you remember, I covered a video a couple of months ago where I said that Ubisoft is going full Soviet on gamers because they wanted to hide the player numbers from Steam so that nobody can see what numbers are being displayed, so that they can probably make it up as they go and write the numbers that they want people to see so that they're in a better light for their investors and for their player base. Well, that didn't happen, thankfully, and now when Assassin's Creed Shadows does release, we'll be seeing actual and correct numbers. This story comes from the French website BFM Tech & Co. Now, this article is translated, and I'm not going to go through all of it because it has a lot of things to cover, but I will go through some main topics that are being discussed here. The title goes Assassin's Creed Shadows. For Ubisoft, it's about coming out of the shadows or diving a little deeper into them. Now, a little is not the term I will be using because this is a win or lose situation, and even if they win with Assassin's Creed Shadows, an actual win for the company is almost impossible at this point. The article starts, it's a crucial week ahead for Ubisoft. Obviously, it's the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows on March 20th after numerous postponements, but also the GDC, the major developer conference taking place in San Francisco. It's an opportunity to send a number of emissaries to California to contact potential recruits for a French publisher eager to rebuild its health and image. I don't know who they're going to recruit exactly at the GDC, apart from some colored-haired absolute idiots who don't know what they're talking about, but best of luck to them. It's also a pivotal moment for the company's emerging future. The success or failure of the company's flagship will determine the future of Yves Guillemot, whose head, a Slovak shareholder fund, has begun demanding, I have no idea what that means, calling for a one-day strike at the end of May. Probably some shareholder from the company that previously, I think, allegedly wanted to start a strike within the company. With the 2025 fiscal year ending on March 31st, it's safe to say that now and Yasuke, the game's two heroes, have a part of Ubisoft's future in their hands. And yeah, it's basically a very crucial thing for Assassin's Creed Shadows to succeed here, both critically and financially, to have at least a modicum of chance for Ubisoft to either survive or at least what everyone's been saying in the past few days, sell at a better price. Because if Assassin's Creed Shadows fails, and if you are asking for my humble opinion, it will fail, that would mean that Ubisoft would have had another flop, and from their absolute biggest franchise, which means that their stocks are gonna drop spectacularly, and they'll be open for every shark out there to just come, a lot of them. Between internal tensions, employee anger, difficult CSEs, etc., and the semi-commercial failures of recent releases, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Skull and Bones, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, Star Wars Outlines, I wouldn't call those semi-commercial failures because these games accumulate a total of over a couple of $1 billion in losses, and that's just for last year only. The pressure is on the shoulders of the highly anticipated Assassin's Creed Shadows. If the game, and quote, if the game does averagely, we're in a really bad way. Ubisoft told TechCo, if Shadows sells very well, we can start to breathe. Yeah, if it does very well, they do have some room to breathe, and they can at least strategize a little, which a lot of people are saying that it's going to succeed, but I think it's either going to slightly break even and have a very, very small success, or even more, it's going to flop, even not by a lot, but it will flop in my opinion. Internally, the article continues a little bit further down. Internally at the Ubisoft Quebec studios, enthusiasm is rather high. Pre-order figures are whispered to be at the level of those with Odyssey, which is okay, but nevertheless below Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is not okay, the best-selling title in the franchise. Already, if it sells like Odyssey, which is the second best-selling game of them, we'll be happy. I don't know if that's what your goal should be in this situation. I think you should be hoping that it sells more than Valhalla, and that should have been your goal to do in the first place. But yeah, I don't think that you could have reached that goal at all. And now we get to the meat of the article. An anti-harassment plan implemented to protect employees. Returning to rising sales critical acclaim would be a welcome boost for the teams and even for Ubisoft, which has been swimming in trouble waters between anti-DEI movement that have continually attacked the game due to the presence of a black samurai, not a samurai by the way, Japan as the setting of the Opus, which has also sparked controversy with some Japanese people crying cultural betrayal. Yeah, Japanese officials and shrine leaders and official organizations have risen up against Ubisoft and are probably going to take legal action. And rumors of a takeover, the period is not the most welcome. It is horrible period. Added to this is the trial of the former company executive, which we covered in a previous video, accused of moral and sexual harassment, which does nothing to improve the overall picture of Ubisoft in turmoil. Yeah, like all of those things in time, if they're separate during time, are in and of themselves bad for a company to have as an image, because it's a stain that does not go away. But those things are happening simultaneously. This is all happening right now, and that's not all of it, because there's a lot of details to each and every one of those points that are listed, and it's so much deeper, and it just keeps piling on. They're like a bingo card that just keeps getting added more and more to it every single day. We have 3 days until March 20th, and I still think that they're gonna fuck up even more with Assassin's Creed Shadows. And we get to an extreme and stressful situation that Ubisoft prefers to anticipate. An anti-online harassment plan was even presented to the CSE, which is the Canadian Communication Security Establishment, to accompany the game's release and protect employees. It's an initiative from Canada. There's a team that monitors networks and that acts quickly in the event of a targeted attack, explains an elected official. Psychological and legal support is promised to employees who are targeted. Unlike what we've had before, this is serious, he proclaims. Thus, messages posted by internet users on X, formerly Twitter, Reddit, or even videos on YouTube will be closely monitored by a dedicated unit in order to respond quickly to the slightest problem. Lawyers are all ready to file complaints in the event of proven harassment. Now, this here is okay. Like, if you attack devs people directly, if you harass them, if you just threaten them like something like Alyssa Mercante does and has done to Smash JT, contacting his wife and just trying to defame him, and then goes and sues him for basically responding to all her hate and attacks, or having someone dox you. Yeah, those things are not okay to do. Don't be an Mercante in this situation. No, don't attack devs. Be critical of the game only and criticize it for what it is and criticize for the situation, but don't attack certain people, especially devs that are probably there just because they're contractual and they want to do the best with what they got. However, when we go to the second message, so they're going to sit around and read through people like me, people like Smash JT, people like bigger YouTubers like Hypnotic, like Nerdrolic, like all those people. They're going to sit through and check out the messages, the comments, the posts, and they are going to determine what they think is harassment. Not what is actual harassment, but if they determine that something is harassment against the employees or the game, that is not proper criticism for the game, which If you have a single entity that is the owner of the product decide for themselves what is proper criticism and allow them to basically remove everything else or even attack people and threaten, because this is a threat. This is an actual threat, ladies and gents. This means that even if I talk about it and I'm critical of the game only, they can determine that I'm being too harsh on it, with using too harsh of a language and stuff like this. And they can say, okay, he's violent and he's targeted harassment, so we are going to basically sue him, send cease and desist, and all of that. And to this, I do want to address Ubisoft and say that for that decision, if you start doing this, really start doing this and attack people for criticizing the game and just talking even with harsher words and more direct language, I would like to absolutely professionally, in the most corporate professional way, say the following thing to you: fuck you. That's all I'm gonna say. If you do this, then fuck you to the moon. This is not what you do. This is absolute socialist Soviet stuff you're doing here. This is not freedom of speech. I understand that you have people that are going to be violent. They're going to be violent against your employees. They're going to attack your employees personally. They're probably going to message them. There are single people like that, single entities like this, like let's say 5-10 people on the internet that will be doing that. I understand that. However, if you start monitoring all messages and basically loom over people's what they are saying on the internet, which is free space to share and say whatever you want, unless you're posting something as fact and you're defaming someone, which is another different matter, then you are basically against freedom of speech. And the fact that you are employing the Canadian Communication Security, whatever was that means that you're going full force on that to try and silence any criticism that might be on the game. This is how it is presented by you, and this is how it's perceived by us. So if you want to dismiss those rumors and that perception that I am currently presenting towards you, then you should go and officially say what you mean by the monitor and exactly set out concrete parameters what you want to avoid and what you don't want to see as criticism and who are you going to target. But with what this is said, if it's true, if it's not only alleged, then you're basically just going on an absolute crusade to silence every single someone who is trying to counter your vision, which I understand that you're probably feeling very, very threatened on very shaken ground, and you probably don't know what's gonna happen, and you're fearful that Grid Shadows is not going to sell well, but that doesn't give you the right to take away freedom of speech out of anyone of the world. Not to me, not on me, not on everyone. You do not have that right. You never did, and if you try to, you will have the full force of the internet against you, and that force is unstoppable. That is something that I can tell you for absolute certainty. And the article ends on: Ubisoft now finds itself at a crossroads, and once again its future rests on the success of its flagship game. If Assassin's Creed Shadows is a success, the company will gain some breathing room. If it doesn't emerge from the shadows, it will drag the group into a much deeper crisis. Some dream of seeing the giant collapse. Yes, we do. That would be devastating for nearly 20,000 employees, but also for the video game industry, which really doesn't need that right now to lose its footing. Actually, you're absolutely wrong on this. I understand where you're coming from with the video game industry, but the video game industry does need to change. It does need to have a little bit of a wake-up call. We have talked about this before. So 20,000 employees, you're making it sound like, oh no, those will be 20,000 people unemployed. No, it's not going to be 20,000 people unemployed, because Ubisoft is not going to close. It's going to get bought. It's going to probably become the property of Tencent or someone else, or at least a lot of its IPs, which are tied to studios, will become someone else's property, which means that those employees probably will retain their jobs. And if it's like merit based and not diversity based, the good people that actually know what they're doing, they'll keep their jobs, while the gremlins and the people who are only diversity hires will probably not make it, which I support. You need merit. You don't need diversity. You need merit. You need any person who can do their job. Doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman or whatever race they are. You need to be good at your job. That's the kind of diversity that is needed, not your form of diversity. And as it goes to the gaming industry collapse, yeah, okay, let it. We have a backlog of games. If the gaming industry doesn't change and doesn't go back to basically doing what it was supposed to be doing, providing us with quality entertainment, so we continue to pay it for that quality entertainment and have that escapism and have that absolute amazing time each day when we get back from work, school, or whatever, and want to release the stress that we have accumulated from that day. If they don't go back to providing us with that happy pill, then we just are going to watch it burn. We have a backlog of hundreds of thousands of games. We have amazing indie developers that are absolutely uncontrolled by your DEI practices and are providing amazing games, and these games are crushing it on each platform right now. So we're just going to see you eat yourself to death, and we are just going to allow the indie developers to grow, and we'll be having another golden age of gaming. That's what's gonna happen. To us, the gamers, it doesn't matter who provides the games. It matters that we get good quality entertainment, and we fight for good quality entertainment. Whether or not you're gonna be an indie developer that is just starting up or a company that has been here for the last 40 years, we don't care. You have the obligation to keep your resume and your quality up to the standards that we are used to. If you don't do that, bye-bye. Bye-bye. It was nice seeing you. We have a lot of other people that we can turn to, and we are already doing that. So if the gaming industry decides to collapse and eat itself out, so be it. That's their fault. If they decide that gamers are actually the ones that they should be catering to, yeah, we will welcome you back. We will welcome every quality game, every franchise that is rebooted and it is revived in a proper manner. We will welcome amazing games and amazing times that you provide. But we will no longer accept trash. And if you continue to provide us with trash, then in the trash you go. Thank you very much for watching this video. This is all I had to say for today. If you enjoyed this video, click the like, click the subscribe button, click the join button, and become part of the DiscussThing Guild. I will appreciate that very much. And please leave your comments down in below so I can know what you're thinking and we can discuss. Join me on Discord, join me on my social links, and join me on Patreon, where I get money for homeless animals and animals in shelter. This is one of the main goals of this channel. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Hazel. This was DiscussThing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers and stay fresh.